access to capital, best business practices, success stories, and more. Now introducing our host, Jay Reynolds.
Hi. When someone mentions Black Enterprise Magazine, what do you think of? For me, what conjures up an image of a quality publication. It's information that I can trust. It's aspirational articles about people and things that are relevant to me as a Black entrepreneur. When you mention Black Enterprise Magazine or Alfred Edmond, you have my attention, and I hope that you have yours. So tune into this. You don't want to miss this. Hello, my name is Jay Reynolds. I own and operate WolfCreek Consulting. We are a top-ranked executive staffing firm that specializes in placing people in finance, accounting, and IT. But you know that this is the business of Black business. This is a show that's designed to help Black entrepreneurs and would-be Black business people start and scale up their business. It's really a unique opportunity for you to gain access to successful business people and thought leaders to hear how they did it. I want you to be in the room. Well, today we get to meet Alfred Edmond, SVP, Executive Editor of Black Enterprise. Alfred, how are you?
Man, I'm doing, as the late Ossie Davis used to say to me whenever I asked him that question, I'm doing better than I deserve, and I deserve the best. It's so good to be here.
I absolutely love that. Well, I got to tell you, Alfred, Black Enterprise as well as Alfred Edmond is a household word. We know you, we follow you, and I'm really proud of all the things that Black Enterprise has accomplished over the years. And I'll tell a quick anecdote about that in a minute. But why don't you introduce yourself? And what I mean by that, outside of the bio, why don't you tell us who you are and what makes you you?
Well, like you said, my title for Black Enterprise, I'm a Senior Vice President, Executive Editor. I'm in my 36th year at Black Enterprise. I spent 13 years running the magazine, the first editor-in-chief of blackenterprise.com, the first chief content officer over now where are multiple media platforms beyond the original magazine. But who I am as a person, first of all, I am a child of God. I recognize that. There's no way to tell my story. It doesn't make sense without God being in the equation. And I am someone whose superpower is the ability to gain information, share information, and inspire people to use that information. I'm a mixed media martial artist, if you will. And I'm fighting as a member of the Black Enterprise team, Black Enterprise Army, for the economic advancement of Black people. That's what you sign up for when you work for Black Enterprise, no matter what you do. But before I came to Black Enterprise, I knew early on in my, probably before I knew it actually, and I think in my childhood, but certainly by the time I got to college, I knew that my gift was the ability to take ideas and communicate them to other people in a way that would help them to transform their lives. And that's what I do.
That's pretty amazing. Now, we all have most of us have a Black Enterprise magazine on our coffee table, right? How did you get to Black Enterprise? How did that happen? And how did that happen for you?
Okay, and again, short answer, God. The longer answer, I did not study journalism in college. I did not know that I wanted to become a journalist, though I was identified as a gifted writer since practically preschool, and also was identified as a gifted artist. So my degree at Rutgers University, where I went to college, is actually a degree in art.
Wow!
I'm a trained visual artist, but I minored in economics, not because I knew I was going to use it someday, but because I was about to graduate from college during a recession, and my counselor was like, "Unless you plan to go to grad school, you need to change your major or your minor." My original minor was psychology. So you're not going to be able to get a job with an art major and a psychology minor. So if you're not going to grad school, so I changed to economics. And of course, years later, obviously that's one of the things that I needed to excel at Black Enterprise. But I got involved really in media in college because I was very active in the Black student movement at Rutgers University.
Okay.
In the late 70s, early 80s. And as a result, and I mean, skipping past a lot, I ended up being more or less bullied onto the staff. I sold a lot of wolf tickets as an underclassman, and then it became don't just talk the game, do the
Yeah.
play the game.
Walk it. Walk it.
Yeah, walk the walk to talk. And I ended up on the staff of what then was a Black and Latino newspaper called the Black Voice Carta Boricua. I still have a copy of my first front page as editor-in-chief hanging in my study today, because that really started my career as an editor and as a media leader. Did that in college, ended up working in the Black press in New York City when I got out of college. Moved into magazines. There was a magazine called Modern Black Men, which was kind of a Black GQ at the same time that Ebony Man was out of Chicago. Modern Black Men was in New York. My original goal was to end up at GQ or Esquire. I love fashion. I love style. I love clothes and menswear in particular.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell.
Well, and but took a job at Black Enterprise as a junior editor, was called an associate editor at the time, now 36 plus years ago, thinking I'd do 2 or 3 or 4 years there and then continue on my quest to get to Esquire or GQ. But it turned out Black Enterprise was the right place for me. First of all, this is how we dressed at Black Enterprise. So I was like, okay, we got the style thing down. Our late founder, Earl Graves Sr., who I hope we talk a little bit more about during the course of our conversation, he believed in this present idea we had to present ourselves at our best. So it fit that mindset. But I found out, and I learned to become a business journalist. And I learned that if you follow the money, whether it's sports, whether it's fashion, whether it's, you name it, following the money, there's always a business story in everything. Right. And that's what, kind of, got me bitten by the bug at Black Enterprise and never had a reason to leave.
Well, I'll tell you this. We talked about this a little bit backstage. When I got my MBA, my wife, there was this picture of me, like a headshot, if you would, or a body shot or whatever. And my wife, as a present for me, got that body shot superimposed on Black Enterprise magazine. And I still have it today. And that just lets you know how aspirational that was for people like me, men of color, and still maintains that way today.
It never gets old. I mean, we're not really in the print business. We haven't been printing magazines probably for about 8 years now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But there's everybody we meet when we're used to this, and it never gets old, has a story to tell about the first article they read in Black Enterprise, the first article they read on the website, the first event, the first time they went to a Black Enterprise event, and who they met and what that caused them to see and do in their lives. Now, I've been around long enough now that the people telling me these stories are in their 30s and their 20s, and they'll say, the first time I read about Reg Lewis was at blackenterprise.com, and it made me think about. And it really comes to the core of why we do what we do at Black Enterprise.
And I want to talk about that. That dovetails into my next question. Talk to me about the goals and the vision for Black Enterprise as you see it today. It certainly has evolved. But what do you want to accomplish going forward?
The mission has not changed from what it was in 1970 when we were founded.
Okay.
The only thing that's changed is the means of distribution. I tell people, if you were in the music business, you want to make great music, but once upon a time you delivered on vinyl records. Today is streaming, but the mission hasn't changed. Our goal, our mission is wealth for life for African Americans. That's what it was in 1970 when it was called America's Guidebook for Black Success, and that's what it is today. So our job is to give African Americans and others the information, the resources, the networks, the connections they need to grow wealth, whether that's as an entrepreneur, whether that is as a successful professional, whether it is through investing in real estate and stocks and bonds. And it's really going to be all of the above, because you got to do all 3 of those things if you're really going to build significant wealth, whether it's for your company or for yourself as an individual and your family. But so the mission is still to help close the racial wealth gap in America, to grow Black wealth, and as you might see over my shoulder a little bit, to make sure that African Americans are participating in every aspect of the economic prosperity of this country and really the world, not just as consumers and workers, but as producers and as builders and as innovators and as wealth creators. And that's exactly right. That's what we do. That's what we're committed to.
Let's take a break. And when we come back, I want to talk to you a little bit more about that commitment to Black and minority-owned businesses, as well as your connection to South Florida. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Desmond and Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters, because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. Desmond and Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
At DRT Behavioral Services, we provide culturally sensitive mental health evaluations with thorough treatment plans, incorporating alternative forms of wellness, not just Western traditional medicine. Besides medication management and psychotherapy, we provide education to people in the areas of minority mental health with classes on your diet's impact on mood and sleep hygiene for better rest. We also offer weight loss therapy, massages, and facials. Visit brainlovehelp.com today.
Help comes in many forms. As a Miami-Dade County bus operator, you can help your community, help those in need, and even help yourself. Operators have the opportunity to earn more than $50,000 a year plus built-in overtime, earn more than 13 paid holidays and vacation days, and take advantage of the tuition reimbursement program. Plus, qualified new drivers will receive a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Become a driving force in our community. Apply now at miamidade.gov/busdriver.
Black-owned businesses have been the backbone in our community for many years, serving in sectors ranging from healthcare to security, business support, and professional services. I'm asking you to invest in and support Black-owned businesses. Doing so creates more jobs, expands our economy, and makes Miami-Dade County a stronger, more diverse, and prosperous community for everyone.
Find out more information at miamidade.gov/Black-owned business.
Welcome back. This is the Business of Black Business. And I got to tell you, there's something that you said that really piqued my interest that I really want to drill down into. You talked about the building of Black wealth, sustainable Black wealth within the Black community. You also have a speaking engagement coming up here in Miami here fairly soon, I think at the end of the month. Why don't you tell us more about the Miami-Dade Economic Advisory Trust, the event, and we are all looking forward to your keynote address. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, again, I am honored to be the keynote speaker for the Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, or MDEAT, this year on August 29th. So all you guys down in South Florida, come on out, make a brother feel welcome. It's going to be a great opportunity, again, to advance what we just talked about before the break.
Right.
So that's part of that mission too. You got to understand, MD is part of the legacy of Black enterprise. The business of Black business is part of the legacy of Black enterprise. Black enterprise was started 53 years ago. MD was started 40 years ago. I don't know how long you've been doing your show, but you're
about two proud years, brother.
Yeah, but the thing is, you
Yeah.
traced it back to what inspired you in terms
Yes.
of getting on this path to Black enterprise. So we consider this work, whether it's me speaking at an event at MD, whether it's a conference, and many of our conferences are held in Florida and South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
It's still that same mission. And so what I'll be coming to do is really not only connecting and talking about what Black enterprise has been about, but tying that to the work of MD, tying that to the work of the business of Black business. Because, I was talking, we're kind of like the Air Force, but we have ground troops like you who are on the ground in cities and states and municipalities across the country who are doing the work on the ground. Yes, we can provide media and we can do conferences and events, but it's what happens day to day on the ground, in this case in Miami-Dade, that tells us whether we're moving forward or not. It goes back to the walking the walk,
right?
Walking the talk. And you guys are walking the walk, and I want to be there to help encourage and championing you guys to continue to do that, because it makes what we do so much more meaningful.
Hey, but you are aspirational, right? I get to stream your information and read articles that are relevant to me, and it switched. I can't tell you how many times I read something that turned a light bulb on, flipped a switch within me, and maybe even to some degree changed the trajectory of my business.
Well, our goal and your goal and your mission, The only real obligation of successful people is to replicate their success.
Yeah.
And there's no wealth if it's not multi-generational wealth. So yes, if you and I, Jay, are successful in our own lives, but our lives don't replicate into the success of the other people around us,
Touch other folks. Exactly.
Then it was like we were never here. So yeah, you're right. We're here to turn each other's light switches on so that generation after generation can do better than we're doing.
Tell me something, Alfred. If you weren't the SVP for your magazine, what for Black Enterprise, because it's not a magazine anymore, Black Enterprise, what would you do? What would you be doing? Because people don't get the opportunity to meet and understand guys like you very often at this, let's call it granular grassroots kind of level. Who would you be? What would you be doing?
At the core of what I do, and I didn't understand this early on, but I now understand it, is I teach. I am teach. Earl Gray's, our late founder, used to say, if we're not telling people how to do it, we're not doing our job. It's not information for the sake of information. We practice what we call solution-oriented media. Much of media is all about defining the problem and how intractable it is, and whether it's for Black people or in general. And there's a place for that. But our job is to say, yes, let's look at this problem and talk about how to solve it. So I am, in effect, a problem solver. I am a teacher. I'm the one that says, okay, if the goal is to get from point A to point B, how do we do that? I coach and mentor entrepreneurs. I'm very well known for that. I was coaching one of my entrepreneurs before this call, before I came on your show. And what we're doing is, how do we solve the problems that's keeping you from getting to where you want to go with your business? I can't tell you how important that is. When all is said and done, I am a coach. I coach people to success, whether I do it through an article, a speech, or one-on-one coaching. I'm a coach and mentor for Black Ambition, Reynolds program for Black founders. I was the first coach and mentor for the Bomisi Institute, which is a Black-owned media accelerator. So I do it independently, and I do it as far as programs. When all said and done, I'm a coach, in what would be considered at least lower economic conditions. I didn't know I was poor until I went off to college. When I went off to college, then I was like, oh, wow, wait, what? Nobody told me, and so there were, I don't want to make it sound like there were no challenges. When I, started my career with an art degree, but no journalism classes, I started out as a layout artist in a part-time job at a small Black newspaper in Brooklyn, New York, with an unfurnished apartment. It was, but it was like, but I'm in New York and I got a job and I'm making it. And my first apartment mate, who also went to Rutgers with me, Matthew Scott, who also is a great Black financial journalist, who also went on to run publications, worked at Black Enterprise. We had an apartment with no furniture, just us, and our job at a small newspaper, but we were making the rent and it was all good, I tell people one of the biggest gifts you can give anybody, and certainly your children, is the confidence that they can make it no matter what. And my mother and the family I'm from, the Edmonds and Monroes, that's my father and mother's side of the family, gifted us, me, my siblings, my cousins, with supreme knowledge that no matter what happened, we could take care of ourselves. We could make it. And that's been my approach. Even though now, obviously, I'm very successful, but part of what I do is I don't live in the fear of being unsuccessful. I'm not worried about.
Not afraid at all.
I can't make it, and as a result, when other people are, like, for example, when there's bad economic news, I'm like, that's telling me it's going to rain today. Sometimes it's going to rain, sometimes it's not. Sometimes the economy is going to grow, sometimes it's going to shrink. Sometimes the stock market is going to go up, sometimes it's going to go down. And so adversity, I don't look at adversity as a reason not to succeed. I am undefeated. I was raised where the word can't doesn't have any meaning in our family's vocabulary. We just do. Either you do or you don't. And that's the adversity, quote unquote, of my life. And again, I'm not acting like, even now, I told you before we came on the air, you are happily married for 40 plus years. Thank God. I've been through 3 marriages. Those weren't easy, pretty things. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. Never got sick, thank God. But the truth is, I lived with it for a year. A lot of people would say that, oh, that's devastating. No, I came out of it fine and better. So a lot of adversity is depending on your mindset. And I'm a big
But it's upbringing and it's part of your DNA to
and it's
persevere.
faith. I am a man of God. I trust the Lord. I trust God. The adversity has only helped me grow my faith.
Yeah.
More than it did when I was younger, and it makes me even more confident in my ability to overcome, because I'm not operating in my own strength. I'm operating in the strength of my Lord and Savior Jesus.
We're going to need to take a break. I need to pay the bills real quick, and we're going to come back because I want to talk to you about what's next, right? Mm-hmm. So let's take a quick break and let's talk about some of the projects that you have coming up. All right? Yep. Thank you.
Help comes in many forms. As a Miami-Dade County bus operator, you can help your community, help those in need, and even help yourself. Operators have the opportunity to earn more than $50,000 a year plus built-in overtime, earn more than 13 paid holidays and vacation days, and take advantage of the tuition reimbursement program. Plus, qualified new drivers will receive a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Become a driving force in our community. Apply now at miamidade.gov/busdriver.
The contributions Black-owned businesses have made to our community are immeasurable, creating over 12,000 jobs and generating more than $2.3 billion in sales annually into our local economy. The Support Black-Owned Business 305 campaign helps these businesses gain access to capital, training, and resources to help them thrive.
Find out more information at miamidade.gov/Black-owned business.
When quality care is
And one of the things I would like to talk about, Alfred, is some of the projects that you have coming up. And one of them is one that's kind of near and dear to my heart, right? Black Men Excel. And real quick story about Black Men Excel. I went to my first one here. They come to, they make the circuit, and they're here in Florida from time to time. And I went to the one at PGA. And I got to tell you, I left there renewed, literally renewed. Because sometimes as a Black business person, you are operating in a silo, right? You're not necessarily interacting with a lot of people and bouncing ideas off of folks. And then you go to something like that where you have all of these really freaking bright, like-minded Black men in one place talking about life, talking about mental health, talking about business, doing business with each other. As a result of that, I remember meeting somebody, one of the key guys at FedEx, right? Just happened to meet him. He and I talking. And, 3 months later, I'm doing business with FedEx and have continued to do business with FedEx since that time. So all I'm saying is that this is something that's really near and dear to my heart, and is so well done. Why don't you talk to us about Black Men Excel and what we can expect for this event that's coming here in South Florida over the course of the next couple of months?
But yeah, you did a better commercial than I might have done. Black Men Excel. But simply put, Black Men Excel is the #1 leadership excellence event for Black men. Black men in leadership in corporate America and beyond. And you're right, it's about bringing in the best, the brightest leaders, Black leaders, male leaders, in one place where we can continue to excel, how we can pour into one another and pour into the companies we work for, the businesses we're building. It's a one-of-a-kind of event. It was inspired by an event we do for Black women in corporate America and in leadership, the Women of Power Summit, which you've done in Las Vegas for the last few years. But we are back in Florida, October 11th through 13th at the JW Marriott Turnberry Resort and Spa to do it all again, to bring together, like you said, like-minded Black men in leadership in corporate America and beyond. This is an event that many corporations send their executives to because it's a legitimate professional development, corporate development, leadership development event. So HR directors and diversity leaders will send their Black male executives. But as you know, it's a great environment for Black entrepreneurs and Black leaders, because if you want to do business with corporate America, the decision makers are in the room.
Absolutely.
And so we're really excited. We expect over 2,000 Black men to converge on October 11th through 13th. We kick it off with our Excel Awards, where we're honoring some people like Chris Womack, CEO of this, I believe, the Southern Company. Anthony Anderson, obviously well known as the star of Blackish. So we honor Black male excellence, not just in sports and entertainment. That's our whole thing. We have excellence across the board, and this event
across the board. It is absolutely iron sharpening iron. And it's unlike, if you've never done this before, black business people, I don't care how much it costs, spend the money to go to this thing. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed. You will leave there refreshed, energized, and you may meet someone that will potentially change the trajectory of your business or your life. So I got to tell you, Alfred, I could talk to you for hours. What I would ask you to do, though, I would ask you to come back to the show. Love to talk to you again. Unfortunately, I've run out of time. So, but would love to talk to you again. And I know you're a busy guy, so I want to thank you very much for taking the time to do this. And again, I always say that if it is to be, it is up to me. This is the business of Black business. And thank you, Legacy Magazine, for making this important. Thank you guys for the team at Legacy Magazine for doing such a yeoman's job as it relates to putting this thing on. My name again is Jay Reynolds. This is the business of Black business. And we were talking to Alfred Edmond, the Senior Vice President and Executive Editor of Black Enterprise. Thank you very much. Look forward to talking to you again.
Likewise, to be continued.
Absolutely.